Where's the future of offensive football heading at the collegiate level? I think that, well, I'll start here. Full disclaimer, I am painting with the broad brush here. So what I'm saying here isn't applying to every single team, but I think the general flavor of what I'm going to say here is applicable to many teams across the college football landscape. We're going to see more teams now. This is one thing a lot of these guys said. We're going to see more teams with helmet technology choose to huddle up. Because the advantage used to be, hey, if we signal in the play and we're not giving them a chance to sub out their personnel, we're going to go up tempo and we're just going to throttle them to death. NASCAR fast. They'll get so tired, they'll get discombobulated. I think the guys that are tempo will still be tempo guys. Like, I don't think Tennessee is now going to be let's huddle up for the duration of the play clock and then snap it. Like, I think Tennessee is still going to go fast. That's who they are. But with helmet communication, it allows you the ability as an offense to be a little bit more complex because you can get in the huddle. You don't have to signal it in. You don't have to run the play in. You can talk to the quarterback, get everybody on the same page. I think that matters. I think that's important. Probably the more advantageous part of huddling now is when you have the helmet communication and you can get on the same page, you can be more complex, you don't allow the defense to align to your formation. Because typically how it would work if you're doing the sugar huddle and you're trying to get the signal in, you'll have a couple receivers out there loosely around where they'll be when the play starts. The back is about where it will be when the play starts. You can align loosely to what the offense is doing. If we snap the ball, get out of the huddle, you're trying to figure out where everyone's going. That receiver's going left, that tight end's going right. It's hard to align to. It gives you a little bit of an advantage if you are the offense. So more teams huddling is something we're going to see now, if not next year, and I think it will be next year, over the course of the next several seasons in college football. Here's another interesting takeaway from talking to some of these coaches. The importance of the tight end position is where modern college football is heading. I didn't say it's the most important position on the field, but for a lot of these offenses, that is what is going to make the whole thing go. That is the butter to the dish that brings it all together. Last night, I was making some orzo. Yeah, chicken orzo. And needed a little cream on there, needed some salt on there, needed some spices. But like if I didn't have butter, it wasn't going to work. And newsflash, didn't have butter, had to run to the grocery store, pick it up, went back. It all ended up being fine. But that's what these offenses are going to be. That's going to be the difference maker for a lot of these teams. Because now at the tight end position, you're seeing some unicorn kind of dudes that play that position, right? Like 6'4", 240-ish. They can run, they can catch, they can block. Being able to have one or two of those guys on your roster, on your offense, that changes the way that a defense has to match up with you. Because the way that it previously has been over the course of defensive football over the last however many seasons, it's been, okay, we're going to play a nickel and we're going to have them cover, these spread teams. You're not going to be able to have too much speed for us on the field. We're putting another fast guy on the field to try and defend your fast slot wide receiver. Well, now offenses are saying, well, we're actually just going to put another tight end out there who's bigger and maybe not quite as fast, but he can still burn and still going to be a tough guy for your nickel to cover. So that's one side of it. But the real advantage now is when teams run the football and that nickel has to go and get off a block from that 6'4", 230-pound tight end. It's really tough to win that matchup. It's really tough for the nickel to set the edge when you got to go and beat a block against that kind of individual. And so having those big human beings at tight end, those unicorns, that is where you're going to see the elites of the elite have in college football. And we've already seen it already. Like Michigan last year, they weren't quite as, they didn't really spread you out too much. But A.J. Barner and Colston Loveland, I think one of the best tight end duos in college football. The year before, Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington. I mean, freak shows. If you can have two tight ends and keep defenses guessing with how they have to defend that and kind of play with their personnel that they can defend, changes the whole game. Changes the whole game, and it changes the way the defenses can play you, and it puts you at an advantage every single time. And here's the last one that I thought was really, really interesting. Coaches aligned on this thought. The formation, for the most part, from offenses is going to condense a little bit. And again, the teams that are spread you out, line you up to the hash, or line you up to the wide sideline, I guess, like they're still going to do that. But I think you're going to slowly but surely see this trickle-down effect from the professional level of offenses being a little bit more condensed. And the reason for that, when you have a condensed formation, and the average formation width of an offense in the NFL is about 18 yards. When you're condensed, you can motion a lot more easily. And when you motion and you have that formation packed in, that kind of plays with the linebacker's eyes, plays with the safety's eyes. And even more importantly, when you're condensed, you have the corners that have to align with that formation. And I love corners. I got good friends that played cornerback, good people. They don't want to tackle. They don't. They might say they want to tackle, but the way that God designed their physique, they're fast, they're great in coverage, they don't want to go tackle someone like Trevor Etienne, someone like Donovan Edwards, so on and so forth down the line there with good running backs in college football. They don't want to do it. And so when they have to line up close to that line of scrimmage, and we decide, hey, we're going to run a little toss play here, a little wide zone here, and we put a running back out there on the perimeter, maybe he has a lead blocker, maybe he doesn't, up on a corner, that's a win for the offense. It is. And so the trend that you've seen from the Niners and the Rams, and I'm not a big NFL guy, but this is, again, what's been told to me, we're going to see that, I think, slowly but surely become more of a flavor in modern college football over the course of the next few seasons. And again, the helmet communication is going to allow them to be more complex and I think implement more of that style of play. So what I will say here as we kind of pivot out of this and into the question part of this, the bread and butter of modern college football going forward is still going to be line of scrimmage play and quarterback play. Last 3 national champs, I think I've already said it once on this show, 4.5 yards a carry plus. Michigan ran for 4.5 yards a carry last year. Georgia the last 2 years was, or the last 2 years they won the national championship, that is, was north of 5 yards a carry. That is the secret sauce. That, now in the modern college football playoff, the expanded playoff, got to have a quarterback that can elevate you in games where the roster is a little bit more of a stalemate, where the line of scrimmage might be a little bit more of a stalemate. As long as you got a line of scrimmage that can dominate and a quarterback that can separate, you're in good shape. But those things I think are worth noting as we move here into this new era of college football. Teams huddling, importance of the tight end position, and the condensing of different formations is where this whole game is headed. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.